I think a lot of us were taught that business growth meant constantly pushing, constantly producing, and constantly doing something. But I'm here to tell you a different approach that I think everybody should do at least once. As a CEO, as a business owner, entrepreneur, solopreneur, everything. This is going to protect your peace. It's going to protect your rest, and it's going to help your business grow while you're also feeling good. So let's talk about it. I so badly want to say welcome back to Cozy and Thriving, but I literally just made a video on Instagram about how starting your podcast off with welcome back is losing you listeners. So I really don't want to say that. But if you're here for the first time, this is Cozy and Thriving, where we just learn to build a life that we actually want to be present for. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But don't forget to like, rate, share, subscribe, do all the things. It helps the algorithms push this podcast out to those who need it and those who are searching for it but can't find it because the algorithm is showing them different things. Okay? So let's just jump right into this because I feel, is my bracelet going to be annoying? Let me hold the mic like this. I don't know if you guys can actually hear it, but it's annoying me, just all the jingling. I want to talk about business growth almost from the same standpoint as the quote unquote hustle culture, but not hustling to get there, but also prioritizing rest. Because I think as a business, and depending on how big or how large your vision and your what you want your business to be, you do have to put in a lot of work. I feel like a misconception of my podcast is that you don't work at all, or you barely work, or you just don't go above and beyond for your business. And that is not what I'm saying at all. My whole mission is to have every single business owner and every person in the entire world prioritize rest, so that way when they go to do the things that they love, or when they go out to work, or when they go out to be with other people, they are at their highest point. They have energy, they are happy, they are rested, and they are not stressed when they go out into the world. Even though the business world has told us that we have to continue to push, continue to produce, and continue to go and just do and all of these things, while yes, that's true, I also believe that there should be as equal amount of continuing to rest, continuing to slow down, continuing to prioritize your mental health. This can be as simple as knowing when to take a break and go on a walk. So what does business growth mean to me, or what does growth in general mean to me? The image that comes to mind isn't hustle or chaos, it's consistency. I've talked to so many business owners who are on the go 24/7. They're like, I didn't sleep last night. I'm so stressed. I did this. I did that. I'm doing this. I have no time for myself. I don't do any of that. And I'm like, whoa. You need to take a break, sit down and reevaluate, see where you can delegate, give help, do anything, because what your business is right now is chaotic and it needs to be not chaotic. So what I guess growth looks like and business success looks like to me is that consistency, but it's steady income coming in, steady projects flowing out, and everything feeling balanced in between. So if I'm having a steady income and I'm having steady work come in and I'm having steady output, I should then be able to also schedule that time for rest and schedule that time for things that I like to do. However, we all know as business owners, CEOs, anything, you know that businesses aren't always just this steady line. We have dips, we have high points, we have low points, we have everything in between. And I have learned to take those slow moments, those slow times to rest. Though it's something that you're kind of just like, ugh, I wish that I was getting the same amount that I got last month or last week, or the same sales that I made the last time I put this product out. When you have a business and you're promoting things, there should be a promotion plan, I guess. And I could talk about this probably at another point, but I feel like when you have a product or when you have something coming out, and like if you think about all of these big brands, they have campaigns where they are promoting certain things. They know when things are going out. They know what content to make, what commercials to put out, all of the things. But if their sales are low, they're not then staying up all night trying to come up with new things to post, trying to come up with new ways to sell. They're not trying to come up with all these crazy things. It's like, this is our promotion schedule, this is our campaign, and whether or not we grow from this or stay stagnant or we dip from this, that's just what it is. And I feel like as business owners and as CEOs, we should take from that and make a plan at the beginning. Hey, this is how I want to promote my business. This is how I want to promote my product. This is how I want to promote my service. And then just chill, take a break, rest. Doing something new every single day to promote your business or to just be on all the time is going to burn you out. Trust me, I've been there. I know. You don't want to burn out. You don't want to stress yourself out by doing over and above after what you've already planned out. You want to keep your mental health sane. I'm telling y'all, it is such a game changer when you can actually take those slow moments and those dips and just rest and just take a deep breath. So that way, when you go in the next day, you're not like stressed out. Oh my gosh, we have to do this, we have to do that. You've had a time to take a break, to rest your mind, and to be creative. And then now you can go on with your business and come up with new ideas and all the things. I was watching Grey's Anatomy yesterday, and Derek Shepherd said this line to Richard. He said, "Go home, sleep on it, we'll talk tomorrow." And that is the mindset that I feel like all of us have to have when our brains get overwhelmed, is to go home, sleep on it, and talk about it tomorrow, not stay up all night thinking about it. Sleep on it. If you ask me what business success or just success in general looks like, it's always starting with cozy. A cozy, non-hustle version of business success is knowing my limits, knowing when I need to keep going and when I need to stop, and then honoring that. And just like I said at the beginning, I feel like what I thought success was just constantly going, constantly moving, constantly putting out and producing and doing and never stopping. But that just leaves you burnt out and nothing to show for it. If you're hustling so hard and by the end of the month or the end of a quarter or the end of the year, you're like, I have nothing to show for this. I have no business growth. I have nothing. It's probably because you were burnt out. It was probably because you were doing it on an empty cup. It was probably because hustle doesn't necessarily mean growth. Hustle means doing a bunch of stuff and then hoping something comes from it, instead of just being like, you know what? I know I need to work hard and I'm going to work hard, but I'm also going to rest just as much. I'm also going to take a step back just as much. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was about having hobbies just like in your adulthood. And they were talking about how a lot of people will take their hobbies and turn them into jobs. Something she said was so cute. It was, you take your hobby and turn it into a jobby. I thought that was so cute. But taking that hobby and then making it a job it can go two ways. It can go from something you love to do to something that you no longer like, or it becomes a passion that you get to do as a job. But they were also saying you also need to have something on top of that. No matter if you turn one hobby into a job or not, you have to have something that you're not always trying to monetize on. And I thought that was so good. Like, just have something that you're not trying to make money from. And one of those things for me is reading. I think before I started doing what I'm doing now, I actually was about to start a book podcast. It was called Books and Blankets, and it was a cute idea. And I think that, if I was more of a reader than I actually am, it would have worked. But I just enjoy reading just to read, and I like to talk about books, but it's not something that I feel like I need to monetize on to make money from, because then at that point, like with that podcast, I felt obligated to read. I had to read in order to talk about to talk in my next episode. And I only had I was doing it once a month. So I had to finish at least one book a month. And I'm not that fast of a reader. Sometimes I can read fast. Sometimes I'm like, I'm just not into it right now. And that's okay. But if I were to try to monetize literally everything I did, I would never have a hobby that would just be something that I could wind down and do. It would always be to make money, always be to be a job, always be something to be stressed about. And I just don't think that we need that. So that was a good podcast episode. I definitely needed that. So my goal for you this episode is to make sure that I leave you with a plan to have a successful business and to have growth, but to also prioritize other things outside of that so your brain is just free as a bird, okay? So let's go behind the scenes a little bit and talk about my systems. I have hard systems and I have soft systems. So we're going to start with the hard systems, okay? And these are non-negotiables. These are things that I must stick to in order for me to have a time of rest and to have time with my family and have time with friends and doing the things that I love. These are also the things that help protect my energy and also structure my day. So the first one is working 10 to 6. I feel like I have talked about this since the very beginning of my podcast. Those are the hours that just work for me. I love to have a good morning and I love to have time in the afternoon. I also, because I work for myself and from home, I'm just kind of like floating around. So I have this like large 8-hour window of being able to work, but also being home, and it just kind of like blends together. But then after 6, it's like cut off all work, cut off all operations. It's time to do something for your house, do something for you, do something with your husband, go on a walk. It doesn't matter. Just step away from the computer, step away from the cameras and the microphones and social media, and just go do something else for a little bit. Another hard system and non-negotiable is walking every morning and every evening. I edit for a living, so I am literally sitting all day long and I don't have a standing desk. I used to have one and I feel like I should just get another one or something so I can use my walking pad a little bit more while I'm working. But because I'm sitting all day long, I need to move my body and I need to get some sort of exercise, because if I don't, that will not be good for my health. So I do make sure that I go on a walk every morning and every evening. And another hard system is taking breaks throughout the day to protect my creative energy, my creative mind, my creative everything. The best break for me, and especially again, because I work from home and I work for myself, it's easy for me to do this. But the biggest break that I will take is my lunch break. I will go to the kitchen and like how my living room is set up, which if you're watching, you can kind of see. I have my TV, and then behind my couch is like a little bit of a walkway. And then we have my kitchen. So I will throw on a show or a podcast or something on the TV, and I will clean my kitchen, make myself lunch, and then I'll sit on the couch and actually finish out that episode. Or if I decide to watch another one, I will, and eat my lunch. So that way it's just taking my brain off of social media, off of work, off of anything that I have to do creatively, because it's really just, I'm on autopilot at that point. I'm making my lunch, I'm cleaning up the kitchen, and then being, entertained by something else. That way my creative brain goes to sleep. It's like, okay, it's your time to go to sleep, and my body's being refueled and all the things. Okay, and then I have my soft systems. My soft systems are things that are guidelines, I guess. So it's not top priority. It's not something that I have to do, but it's just something to help kind of structure what I already have going in my hard systems. So like one would be assigning tasks to certain days. I can do this on Monday and start assigning tasks to things. Mondays, I usually try to take very slow. It's usually my admin day or just a light work, light cleanup. Maybe I'm downloading footage for the week, whatever the case is. That is what Mondays are usually for. And then Tuesdays and Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays are like hard work days where I'm editing, I'm recording, I'm doing everything for my content and clients' content. And then Fridays are very, very, very loose, very, very, very not structured at all. It's just kind of like whatever I have to do on Friday, I'll do, but it's not like that's assigned anything. However, because these are soft guidelines, if I wanted to work super hard Monday through Wednesday and then have Thursday as an admin day, I could. And those are the types of like soft systems I'm talking about. Or yeah, that's what I called them. Yes, soft systems. Soft systems are things that can change. So just remember this, hard systems are a must, soft systems are guidelines. And this is something that you can create for your workday at any given point as a CEO, as a business owner, anything, to be cozy and to make sure that you're prioritizing both the growth of your business and the rest of your mind. Okay, so now that you know some of my systems, let's kind of talk about what a day in my work life looks like. So that way you kind of know how I structure things, how I prioritize growing my business while also being cozy. Literally, like my shirt says, cozy season. I found this shirt at Walmart. Okay, perfect for me. Okay, so when it's actually time to start my day, I purely do this based off of how I feel. And I don't do this very often because I don't like to act off of my feelings, because sometimes your feelings can lead you in the wrong direction. But I've learned to know, okay, right now I'm not 100% like in my creative mood. So if I try to edit this video, or if I try to make content, or whatever the case is, I'm not going to be my best. So instead, what I will do is admin work. And then after lunch, I will go and do the creative things. But sometimes there are days where I literally cannot wait to start working. I just wake up motivated. So right at 10, I will start editing right out the gate. So that's what I mean by I work based on how I feel. It's not that I wake up and I say, oh, I don't feel like working today, so I don't. And then it's like 3 weeks later, and every single day I said I didn't feel like working. That is not what I'm telling you to do. I'm saying that you can structure your workday, especially if you are a solopreneur and you are working by yourself. You can structure your day based on your motivation levels. This is all about responding to the energy that you have towards a certain task and not forcing it or pushing past it or pushing through it. Sometimes that block is there just because we haven't had enough rest, or because we aren't motivated or whatever. And, sometimes the motivation won't come all day. Okay. So I know, I get that. I understand. Sometimes the motivation doesn't come at all that day, and you have to do it anyways. I understand that. But this is like a perfect day situation. Okay. This is how I am most of the time, but it also comes with doing this more and more and more. When you actually start to live this way and you actually start to move and work your business to be this way, the motivation will come because you've honored it before. And it's not one of those things where you've just burnt yourself out and now you're searching for motivation. It will come when you start working this way. Structure is super, super helpful, and your self-awareness will soon mesh with that structure, and that will be how your body and systems and everything just learn to flow. So when it comes to planning and goal setting and all of those things during my day, we're getting to the nitty gritty in this episode. We are just sucking all of my systems out into this one episode because I feel like it's so important. But anyways, so when it comes to planning and goal setting, the very first thing for me is to have pen and paper or a notebook or a planner. I have tried the digital ways. I've tried Notion. I've tried Apple Notes. I've tried reminders. I've tried all of these different things. But the thing that works best for me and the thing that has been consistent since I've gotten it was a planner. And my planner is from Inside Then Out. And I shared a little bit about them a couple of episodes ago, but I will put the link in the show notes. But I have a daily focus planner, and it really helps me focus, to be honest. You can have your top 3 priorities, which I've talked about before. You can make this long list, but you should always have these top 3. And as long as you have these top 3 things done, you're good to go. So that is what I personally use. And I put my top 3 at the top and then write everything else out on the bottom. And it just helps so much. And just putting your pen to paper is it really helps, like, you remember things. And I remember when I was in school, I would try to like use my iPad and like type, or I would try to use my computer and type my notes because that's what all my classmates were doing. But I just was like, this is not working. I'm not retaining this information. I would much rather write it down. And sometimes I would like type it out first and then I would write it down on paper because the class would just be moving too fast. But anyways, I'm rambling. So once you figure out the system for planning and writing things down and what's going to help you, then to actually set your goals, this is how I would do it. I'm going to give you in like a whole example. Okay. So I'm going to take my podcast because she's growing and I love her and I just cherish her and I love yapping up here. So I want to use my podcast as an example. So let's just say I want to have 5,000 followers on Spotify. Okay, that is my big goal. Instead of saying I want 5,000 followers by next month or something super unrealistic, I will set my big goals to be for a year like out and set little goals in between each one. So we're going to stick with the 5,000 followers on Spotify right now. I just checked this morning, there's 205 of y'all. And it's so crazy because when I actually think about that and like 200 people being in a room, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to a lot of people. So the fact that I have 200 followers on Spotify is amazing, and love you guys. Love every single one of you on Spotify. So this is how I would map it out. So I have 200 right now, and by the end of Q4, I truly believe that I can get 100 more. So by the end of Q4, the end of 2025, I want to say that I have 300 followers on Spotify by the end of Q4. Then by the end of Q4, I'll look to where I am. If I have 299 or 210, then that will differ on what my next goal point is. So I will set the goal 300 by the end of Q4. And then let's say I had like 287. I would say, okay, I got to like 80-ish more followers. So it wasn't the 100 goal that I was like hoping for, but I did get to 80. So let's try to reach that 100 goal and let me get 380 by the end of next quarter. And you'll just kind of see how your growth goes that way. And when you're setting goals like that and you're pushing for these certain goals, you can also then go back and plan certain things to support those goals. So if I'm trying to get 300 followers on Spotify and I say, okay, I'm going to put a reel out. I'm going to share every single episode that I do from here till the end of the year on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, every platform I can think of. And I'm going to do all of that. And I only get 380. I would say, okay, that means that if I only get like 280, my posting everywhere is not really getting that reach that I want it to. So let me see where I'm getting the most reach from. Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Is it YouTube? Where am I getting the most reach? And that's going to help you in general across the board with whatever you're doing. I know I use content a lot, but that's just because that's my job. But let's say you're putting out a product and you're saying, I want, 15 sales by the end of this year, because it's Q4. I want 15 sales by the end of this year. And you get to the end of this year and you've gotten 13. I would say that's successful in my book. You just didn't hit 2. That's successful in my book. So whatever you did to promote that, whatever you did to get to that goal, I would say look where your leads were coming from. And then for your next goal, if you're like, okay, I got 15 or almost 15, I want to go for 30 next quarter, then you can see where your leads came from the first time, start promoting more on that platform instead of like every single platform or whatever you did to promote. Does that make sense, y'all? Does that make sense? Okay. It's the big picture goals. You're getting to this big picture. So I never even finished. So if I am trying to get to 5,000, I'm basically doing things throughout the year to get to that goal, but I'm having these little goals and these little tasks and these little things to go in the middle of all of that. So I have this big picture goal, but I'm having these calm little goals to reach throughout each month to help me, one, learn, but also grow and not stress myself out to get to a huge number in less than 12 weeks. Like if I was like, I want 5,000 followers by the end of this year, as cool as that would be, and I'm not saying that I don't want that, like I would love if that were to happen, and I would love for all of us to have a 5,000 follower cozy family here, but I'm not putting pressure on myself or my podcast to do that because I don't want to stress myself out to get to that. So I'm giving myself time, I'm opening it up, and who knows, maybe if I'm posting everywhere or I'm doing the things that I'm doing, maybe I will get to almost 5,000, or maybe I will get to 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever. I could go higher, but I'm not stressing myself out to make a huge goal in a little bit of time. I feel like that's a really big one. I feel like we a lot of times are very, very, very goal oriented as business owners, and it's good to have goals and it's good to reach certain thresholds and things. But I think that we can get too focused on the goals and too into what that looks like and keeping up with everybody and keeping up with the trends that we kind of forget to just like, hey, this is my business. It's all right if I don't get there right now. I'm going to get there one day. Okay. I feel like I could talk so much more about all of this because even in my notes, I didn't realize how long I was going to yapp for. But even in my notes, I have creating without pressure, I have balancing clients and my own work, and I have rest and boundaries. So those are things that I can definitely talk about, and maybe I'll just make this like a part 2 depending on how you guys feel and what you guys want and all the things. So let me know, use the comment section, I don't even know what it is on Spotify, but I have seen comments up there. So maybe it is a comment section. Use all of it. Tell me, DM me, let me know what you guys want to hear, see, and do on this podcast. So that way we can really do what you need and not just what I need to hear or just what I want to talk about. It's for you from me. Yeah, so that's it. If you liked anything in this episode, I ask that you would like, rate, comment, share, subscribe. I know I said that at the beginning, but I think that it's just super important because I'm realizing how much the viewer and the engagement of you guys is helpful. Like I said, I have 205 people on Spotify that are following and listening every single week. Like, you guys are so amazing. So I'm just so excited and so happy. So make sure that you like, rate, comment, share, subscribe, tell your friends, do all the things. And I think that's it. Don't forget to follow 1008 Creations on Instagram and Threads. That's going to be an amazing thing, especially if you're a podcaster. I have so many tips and tricks for you as far as podcasting and like what that looks like and how you can make your podcast the best podcast on earth. So yeah, I think that's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and until next week, bye everybody.